Okay, welcome back, Keepers of the Flame. Okay, so whew, so we're gonna do a little bit about the full moon ritual, and then I think I'm just gonna make a separate video on the laws. So let's get down to full moon ritual stuff quick. I just tried to make one, but I didn't like it. So let's look at the bigger picture of this. What is this prepping us for to do innately and repetitively, almost by default? This full moon ritual and this new moon ritual and all the stuff in between, because there's things you can do in between as well. You can do rituals on the days of the week. You can investigate further if you feel called to do so. If not, that's okay too. So when we're going through these processes and cycles with our environment, which creates us anyway, if we can get down to a cellular pattern, a basic understanding of releasing what no longer serves, so we can make space for what is going to bring us to our full potential. This little thing called evolution. Dun, dun, dun. So when we're working with this energy in this particular sap full moon in Virgo, everybody's like, it's so powerful, blah, blah, blah. There's a lot of power in every full moon. There just is. So when we are coming to this, we're reaffirming the things that we have set with the new moon. Okay, so this should come to a full accumulation of we're now accepting our self-love, which was from the old moon. The new moon, okay, was all about self-love and making this a ritual pattern of honoring thyself, whichever way you need to do that for yourself. And a lot of people seem to think that hygiene is a form of self-care. That's hygiene. That's a self-upkeep. We're talking about what nourishes your soul. So maybe those two coincide, where you take a bath in cleansing waters and really sit with spirit and be like, okay, I'm doing this and whatever else. And then some people like to push their blood flow back up towards their heart like this, and then you just like rub down into your heart space. Okay, some people do that. Whatever it is for you, that is a ritual type of thing that honors your whole self, not just the physical, right? That's part of it. That's a part of it, definitely. But the aspect that we're, maybe we light a candle and take a bath, or what if like sitting, doing like crazy amounts of housework so that one day a week you can just sit on your day off and not have to do anything. Sit with a book, sit with a journal, sit with an old friend, whatever it is. That clearing and making space and cleaning so that there is time to honor your whole self, whatever that looks like for you. Maybe you need to go out and get your hair done, or do your taxes, or whatever the heck it is that provides you with some sort of like, okay, I got that done and out of the way. Now I'm going to go move on to this thing and that and the other thing that's going to serve my life, right? Serve my purpose, serve my whatever the heck it is that fills my cup. Okay. So, and understanding those things that fill your cup do have an evolution to them as well. So things that you might think filled your cup at one point are starting to kind of dwindle away a little bit, and you're starting to get interested in something else. Again, we live in a society that likes to peg everything. Like everything. Well, she acts that way, so she's gotta be this way. And he does that, so he's gotta be that way. And this person goes over here and freaking right in the middle, and they gotta be that. So labels, again, They're not serving us right now. They're just dwindling us down to some sort of little teeny tiny itty bitty word when we're so much more than that. So knowing thyself does not mean sticking labels all over yourself and pretending like everything's going to be okay because you have all these labels on yourself. Those labels are very constricting boxes that many people do not function well under, especially like myself. I'm number 7 and 12 house stellium. Dude, good luck finding my box. Good luck. And no, I don't need your comments, perverts. So I do not think that we need to be embodying that type of mentality unless it's helping you figure out that aspect of yourself that has been driving you crazy and you just don't have any clue of what it is. Because I understand there's some relief that comes with that, but then slapping yourself with that identification and then leaving yourself in that space is going to eventually become very stagnant, very old, and very, very restrictive. So understanding that you're allowed to be a whole human with your needs and your wants, and if you need to live your life in a construct that was created by someone else to live in, then that's what that means for you. And most likely, if you're one of those people, you are not tuning in right now. But for those of us who are like 7th and all that weird stuff, when we get into a space where we can truly authentically be ourselves, that provides us with our 10 of cups. And that oftentimes does not include any sort of labeling. It doesn't include getting into ourselves into a little peg hole or a little teeny tiny box. And that, we've learned, frustrates people. And it makes people angry and upset. And in a really weird way, some people get like vicious or jealous over it. And it's like, why don't you just spend time getting out of your own box instead of wondering where the hell mine is? Again, get your head out of the gutter, kids. So when we're talking about this energy that I'm describing right now, Pluto is about to move into Aquarius. So if that triggers you in any way, shape, or form, you have a lot of work to do. You have a shite ton of work to do before the 23rd gets here. And for the rest of us who feel liberated by that energy, who are like in the fucking peanut gallery going goo, 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 goo. Like, yeah. This is going to be our time to not only thrive but also shine, so we can help those people that are so confused. This might wreak havoc on the Virgo community because they're like, give me my set of rules, show me my tools, and let me do it. And we have to look at them very compassionately and be like, you gotta make your own tools, you gotta carve your own path, you gotta be you. And then they're going to look at you like, I want to kill you. And you're going to be like, I understand. But again, like, that's it. That kind of forcing your will on other people feels icky to me. Still. And I'll sit with that because I understand that this is a vast ecosystem, but I am not comfortable telling you what to do with your own vital life force energy. That's up to you. If you need to be in trickster energy and like help people wake up through the process of being a trickster, I'm not going to judge that. People need to be woken up, and I completely understand that because I'm now on the other side looking back at my own life going, yeah, I was naive in that area. I got schooled there. It was naive in this area, and I got schooled there. And it's like this whole pattern comes to fruition of like, okay, it's just the universe using other people as tools. So, and it's their choice to be used that way. But if they were to sit with themselves and go within, they could be like, I have a much healthier way of doing this. I have a much more mature and well-abled way to say, just tap the person on the shoulder and be like, hey, did you realize that this is going to be the outcome for what you're doing? And if that person tells you to go F yourself, then just give it back to the universe. Oh, I have seen what happens when people give the middle finger to the universe. Do not be that human. Do not give the uni the middle finger. Don't do it. Okay. So when you get an understanding of how things actually work and you can start to see those patterns, the releasing and letting go of control gets much, much easier. And for the Scorpio stelliums out there, that should be a huge relief for you. So aim towards that, finding that pattern and how it interweaves into itself, and how the universe comes back and says, well, you were asked to learn this and you didn't. So here's a few Neptunian towers and this, that, and the other thing, and a Saturn return and whatever else have you, okay? Giving the grace and gratitude to that process. Because, yep, this is why a lot of people don't like Saturn. This is why a lot of people don't like the 12th house. This is why. Is because it often comes with a sudden or a malicious looking outcome, when in actuality they just ignored the red flags. They just let the red flags go. And we've all been guilty of letting the red flags go. If we're human, we saw red flags and we're like, it'll be fine. Okay, so there's no judgment there. I'm saying there's a process that people go through. So honoring the process, understanding it, and giving grace and gratitude for the process. Not the people who are creating the toxic patterns in society, the process of learning. Okay? We don't need to give credit to scammers and whatever else and people who hack other people's stuff. It's the understanding that those people at one point in time had a very crucial role in society that isn't there any longer. And so they can't fulfill that role. And so they are stuck in this pattern of filling a role of complete lack, because they're being fed a narrative of like, you just, if your street isn't lined with gold, life, it just isn't worth living. And that's a toxic narrative in and of itself. So again, releasing the need to get angry and upset and giving yourself over to the grace and gratitude of like, this is a society that I helped uplift, uphold, and facilitate with my vital life force energy. So coming to an understanding of this is why we do these full moon and new moon and everything else in between rituals, is understanding, releasing, and letting go, and making room for the new and what actually serves. Because when we don't let go with grace and gratitude, what we need to, the universe will remove it in a painful way. So getting into that pattern. And once you do this on a repetitive basis, that process clicks like nobody's business. Because once you understand and assess what's no longer good for you, and what's no longer in your realm of having to sit and deal with, you can spot it 300 miles away and be like, I see you. You need to go elsewhere. Because this energy is not going to vibe with you. Okay. So this is the coming to an understanding that this isn't just some boom, one and done, we're going to manifest this, and boom, one and done, we're going to manifest this. The manifestation process is actually manifesting itself. So once you get into clicking with this on a ritualistic, regular, automatic basis, that's all ritual is regular, thought out process. Laundry is a ritual. Doing the dishes is a ritual. Sweeping and mopping the floors is a ritual. It's a ritual. You move into a new house, you got to clean the whole thing out. So all the old energy, poo-poo, gone. So it's making room for your energy to come in. Okay? So this is the art of alchemy right here. This is the basis for this. This continuum of releasing and accepting and releasing and accepting and releasing. This will build the foundation for your understanding of spiritual alchemy. Okay? And it is bringing the physical into the spiritual, and it's bringing the spiritual into the physical and merging the two. So for a long time, we've been kind of told this narrative that there's the scientific way and then there's the religious way. And unfortunately, they've removed the spirit from both processes, and they're starting to come back together again. And this will be a kind of difficult navigational process when it comes to understanding that these things that you thought that you needed or you were depending on just can go away. So if you're addicted to something, if you are obsessed with something, if you have been ignoring what your spirit is trying to tell you and ignoring the health patterns coming up for you, or ignoring the modality of your life that makes you uncomfortable, all those things that you're trying to work through or you haven't been trying to work through are going to come through and be full-blown, all out. In the open. Now, how does that translate into the new moon energy? It's about loving yourself just as you are, exactly as you are right here, right now. Now, with the new moon that we did in the past, we're bringing those affirmations of love forward into a ritualistic pattern of creating, again, the environment creates evolution, okay? It creates the cells in our body. Not the other way around. I know I'm going to lose a lot of you on that one, and I'm sorry. I love you. We just need to go back to nature, and I'll get to that in another video about the laws. I think there's a lot of misinformation about the laws out there. So back to the loving of the self, just as you are. So yes, of course, there can always be improvements on the self, but if you don't start loving what is right the F now, you're not going to manifest much of anything else in the future that's going to capitalize on that and better it if you can't see what it is right now. Because that all of these energies that are coming in are creating an atmosphere where these constructs that you've made for yourself, these belief systems that you just had the entire winter to sift through, are now being asked to come forward and come to a full extension. This is where manifestation freaking is able to be knocked out of the ballpark. Okay? We've just done the shadow work, brought forth all the stuff from the subconscious that was like getting in our way, holding us back, asking for our love and attention and compassion and healing. And now we're like, okay, I see myself for exactly who I am. I honor exactly what is right now. And this is how I want to move forward. These are the affirmations I want to move forward with. And this is what I'm going to let go of, because this is a full moon, which is not going to start decreasing, which means that energy that you no longer want is going to get taken away. And you're bringing forth that energy of the new moon building up into the full moon into now a ritualistic self-care pattern that you tell yourself, I am worthy, I am this, that, and the other thing. I am this, I am that, I am this. So again, the universe does not hear negatives. So leaving out the word no, don't, not, nothing. Those particular words do not translate with the universe. So you need to cultivate your logos, your language, in a way that the universe understands. And if you want, what you can do is write out like a full sentence or a phrase or whatever, and then turn it into a sigil. There's several different ways to do that. And maybe I can make a video on this. Oh, God. Oh, the Witch of Wanderlust. Or the Wanderlust Witch. Shite. I forget her page. She's super big now, and I can't. I rarely tune in anymore. Because she's not on so much anymore. The Witch of Wanderlust. I'm pretty sure that's what her name is. But she has a really good video on how to do sigils and writing your own sigil. I suppose I could do that too. But it's basically writing out the phrase, and then you slash all the repeating letters. So you only have one of each letter, and then you make a pattern or a symbol with it, with the different letters in all different ways, shapes, and sizes. That can be taken as a sigil, by the way. But that would be a very complicated one. But so using all, and you can use symbols too in there to drive that power forward. So if you know your symbols, you can write whatever the hell you want for a magic spell. So remembering those facts while you're moving forward and manifesting the things that you want versus the things that you're letting go of. Okay. So this closing phrase is, I can't understand or understate this enough, that when we are moving forward from this point on, the self-love ritual needs to be in place, whatever that looks like for you. Because these challenges that are coming up are going to force us into that mode anyway. And if we're already there, we can move forward with the energy and have way less issues, way less issues. But if we're having self-doubt and we're having worries, blah, 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 it's going to bring that up and amplify it. Pluto and Aquarius. Okay. That cleansing water is going to reveal whatever is under the muck that you're trying to hide right now. Okay, so bring up that authentic self and bring up that authentic love for the self. And move it forward with you throughout the rest of your life. And cultivate it with this new moon, full moon transits. Let go of the old, welcome the new. Okay, so these are the words. I love myself unconditionally. I prioritize my needs, my self-care practice, to consistently show myself the love that I know I am worthy of. That's a really powerful saying in and of itself. If you can come up with something better or something that resonates with yourself much, much more, do that. Think of the things that you are trying to manifest when it comes to you thinking, behaving, and embodying the self-love and your authentic self. I cannot state that over. I know. You're going to hear me state it over and over and over and over and over and over again. Find your flame and keep it. So when you're prioritizing your self-care, your self-worth, and whatever else, everybody else around you is going to fall in that line. And they're going to start prioritizing their self-love, self-worth, self-care, which is going to radiate out. Now, people will shame you for being too self-orientated. Your environment creates who you are. Again, a lot of people like that. Yes, your flame is important, but if people are constantly walking past you with access to your flame, and eventually someone is going to come through and snuff out your flame, because there's only so much one human being can take. So your job is to protect that flame and keep it away from the people that are like, if you don't do this, blah, 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 blah. If you don't do that, blah, 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 blah. So understanding that you have a purpose, a priority, and a function in this fractal ecosystem. Okay. So say I'm like a big gardener. I love gardening. I think getting in touch with the earth is a way to get in touch with the divine. Direct contact. Putting your hands in the soil, direct contact to the goddess, in my humble opinion. You can have a different way of doing that. That's totally cool. But there's this mentality that shames people for getting dirty. There's this mentality that says, if you're just a simple, ignorant farmer, you're not a thingy thing. That's not true. That's not true at all. So we have these labels, these constructs that take away our power continuously and try to our flames, right? Constantly. This whole process right here is about telling those people to keep their freaking breath to themselves. Put a fucking mask on. I'm kidding. Don't get me started. But like keeping your breath to yourself and, not trying to blow out somebody else's flame. Again, that's causing harm. So stop. And that often comes with like spirituality being guised as religion, or political beliefs guised as the right and only way, or whatever the heck it is. People just constantly trying to blow your flame out, and all you have to say is like, I don't fit into that. That's not for me. No. And just because I'm not picking sides doesn't make me the devil. And just because I'm not understanding how it is that we're going to move forward under these constructs of yours doesn't mean there's something wrong with you. I think we need to look at things here. Again, not being conned out of your vital life force energy or your flame, because that's a continuum. Okay, there's a lot of spiritual people out there going, you need to be this way and you need to do that and blah, 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 blah. Well, not everybody is supposed to be that way. When people start using a broad brush and say, if we don't focus on this, I just heard some spiritual guru today say, how did it go? If we don't start sitting down and talking with people who are on the opposite side as us, all humanity is doomed. Now, I'm not an astrologer. I'm learning as I go. These next 2 years are like the planets going, hey, did you want to start a civil war yet? Hey, did you want to start a civil war yet? Hey, did you want to start a civil war yet? Hey, did you want to start a civil war yet? That's going to be the next 2 years. No. Pass. Hard pass. Thanks. Not for us. Dude. Next. So, no, we don't need to sit down with people that are hell-bent on not listening to us. We don't need to sit down with those people. We don't. We can do things that improve our own lives and put our frequency, energy, vibration out and be quiet to those people, because all it's going to ask for is a continuum of this toxic energy that's been sifting through. Now, if people can find their maturity and sit down with grace and gratitude in their hearts and hold space for the other party, no matter how much they think it's screwing the system up, then we can hold space for that idea. But I don't think telling the vast majority of people that you need to sit down with people that you vehemently disagree with and think are doing extreme harm to people. Because many people don't understand that sitting down with people that you think are trying to do harm is going to incite you to do harm. So until you've sat with that, understood it on a basic level of, hey, the only reason why I'm seeing it out there is because it's in here and I haven't sat with it yet. So when you can see things from both sides and be like, okay, neither of these really fit who I am, I kind of like this side better. Or neither of these really have any of my values really in either of them, then you can think outside the fence. And that's what's going to really start. you're gonna see these two sides pull further so hard. I'm already starting to see it. They're gonna pull so hard apart. They're gonna pull so hard because they can feel that there's an excessive amount of abandonment of polarities and being pegged into choosing. They can feel that and they can sense it. And this is why we bring up what needs to be let go of, thoughts, feelings, patterns in society that are no longer serving, which is picking sides, and then making room for ideas, thoughts, and patterns and belief structures that come in that can actually serve the whole with a much larger and more prolific way of moving forward as a society, not just picking one team or the other. We can help. I'm not crossing my fingers. But if you get into this alchemy process of sifting through the old that no longer serves and understanding that, then we get to open our hand and say, okay, I'm ready to receive what's new and what's for my highest good and my growth and whatever else. So being the only force that is in the sifting program, not taking into account everybody else's perspective, being the only force. What are your core values? What do you hold the most dear? And what is constricting you right now? What is putting you in that hole that you don't feel comfortable in? What is making you like, sitting with that, understanding what needs to be sifted out, what needs to be brought forward. Okay. And not saying like, oh, the other party is wrong. Where do I need to feel and fit in this equation? And if that energy is no longer serving me, I need to sit with that energy that exists within myself, because it's not going to show up out there if it's already not in here. Okay. You need to get into observer mode and say, okay, it's showing up. My butthole's a little on fire right now. What do I do with it? How do I respond in a mature way? Do I need to respond? Is this even worth my time and attention and energy? Can I just go meditate on this, ask the universe for help and support, and then move on with my life? Do you see what I'm saying? We're pegged into like, you have to go talk to this person. No, we don't. No, we don't. Stop it. This whole like ghosting is not acceptable. If you're dealing with someone you know is hell-bent on not listening, they need to go until you maybe later can come back. But there's a whole plethora of options available to you. Shutting that out, not in soul's best interest. Releasing, letting go, and accepting what needs to be. I love you. Keep your flame.